Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to do my February TBR. January was an interesting reading month for me. It wasn't my best reading month, but I was enjoying what I was reading, and I'm finding my feet a little bit about how I want my reading to be in 2020, and I think that's going to take me a bit of time. I'm sort of leaning towards more non-fiction. I'm helping judge the non-fiction section of the BookTube prize, so that means more non-fiction coming in, more non-fiction that I'm going to be consuming, but I'm also sort of noticing trends in the books that I'm leaning towards and the books that I want to read. So sometimes when I set a TBR it ends up getting adapted a little bit, but I am enjoying setting the TBR and the format of it, and in fact I completed what I wanted to in my January TBR. So I'm just going to look down because I've written down here. So as you know, if you've watched my January TBR or you've watched my plans for the year, I'm doing various different challenges. I'm not going to go into the challenges here more specifically, I'm just going to be listing them. If you want to know more about where I've got these challenges from and the challenges that I'm doing, I'll link up above the video that tells you a bit more about that. So this month, my monthly challenge from Peanut Butter Taco, I have picked to read a love story because I have this mammoth, A Fountain of Silence by Ruta Sepetys, out of the library, which hence why it's so shiny. I'm not using my library an awful lot at the moment because I'm trying to read the books off my shelf, but I saw this when I took my daughter, because she is using the library avidly. I saw this and I haven't had a great track record personally with Ruta's work. I've read a couple of her works now and they just haven't been for me, and I don't know if that is because historical fiction isn't something that I tend to veer towards, whether it is the setting, whether it's the war setting, because that seems to be a bit of a no-no for me in terms of enjoyment factor. I don't know, but I've seen quite a few people talk about this, and the plot sounds much more what I would look for, and I've got a good feeling about this one, so I wanted to put it on my TBR. So it's set during the time of General Franco. It's in Madrid, and we've got two main characters, a boy and a girl. One is from an affluent family. He is a photographer, or he likes taking photographs. The other is a maid at the hotel that he is staying in, who is sort of stuck under this dictatorship, and I think there's going to be maybe some romance. There's going to be two worlds colliding, and I don't know, I've just got a good feeling, so we'll see. The next one is to read a book that's published this year. That is one of my challenges, again, from the Peanut Butter Taco challenges. There's two challenges, there's a monthly one and then there's one where you can just pick off the challenges. And a book that is coming out next month in March is And the Stars Were Burning Brightly by Danielle Jawando. This is a proof copy, hence why it might look different to the finished copy, but this is one that is getting quite a lot of buzz, and I want to try and read the proofs that I'm sent before they come out. It says it's about 15-year-old Nathan, who discovers that his older brother has taken his life and his world falls apart. It's a YA contemporary, obviously with some hard-hitting topics there. The only thing that I'm worried about with this is that I don't fare very well often with male narrators. Don't know why, but there is a female author, which I'm hoping will help. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe that'll make it worse, but I'm going into this hopeful, because it sounds like a really interesting premise, and one that, if it's done well, could be really important and hard-hitting. I decided to pick blue for my colour of book this month, and so I'm going to be reading Furious Thing by Jenny Downham. This was on my most anticipated books list last year, and I'm slowly working my way through those. I don't know if you have the same, but when you have a list of books that you're really looking forward to, when you get those books, you don't want to read them because you don't want to spoil it. You don't want to spoil either the idea that they're going to be 5 stars and they turn out not to be, or you don't want to spoil the fact that once you've read them, that's it, they've been read. But I've got to get over that, because it's worth the enjoyment factor to find out, and this is one that was on that list, and I think the premise sounds really good. This is a book looking at anger and anger management. Our main character has a tumultuous family life. There is so much going on, and yet she pushes this anger down inside. She doesn't have anywhere to release it. She doesn't act on how she's feeling, and so there is probably going to be some breaking point, and I think this is really topical, because I think nowadays there is so much pressure on young people, and young people really do struggle more than we realise with things that are going on at home, or the way that people treat them, and I just think often they suppress their emotions because they think that is what they have to do to be wanted and to be loved, and it's important for them to have that place where they can release those emotions out. And yeah, I can't wait to see what Jenny has done with this. I picked out of my jar for my big book, and the one that came out for this month is The Polished Hoe by Austin Clarke. This is one that I've wanted to read for ages. There was quite a few people reading it as a group a few years ago, and I wanted to read it, and as usual, it was big. It became one of those things that I just couldn't pick up, but I'm determined to this year. And actually, looking at it, it's not actually that big. It's about 500 pages, so it's not a massive chunk more than some of the books I read already. So I'm looking forward to delving into this one. It's set in 1952. And it says, the sergeant of the island's police force is called in to hear a murderous confession. A lifetime of tragic compromise told in a single night. Layers of disturbing history unfold as Mary Matilda, fair-skinned mistress of plantation manager Mr. Belfields, weaves her intimate story of passion, motherhood and loss, culminating in a gruesome revenge. So this sounds really good, so I'm looking forward to finally picking this one up. The next thing I did was look through my 100 books poster to see, I wrote a massive list of all the books. I will make a video on the ones that are on that list, so hopefully you can help me decide which ones to start with first. I had a disappointing first one. I picked The Secret History and it just wasn't for me, so I DNF'd it. Does that mean I can scratch it off because I tried it? Or does that mean I have to leave it unscratched? I don't know. But I picked for this month one that I am almost positive I'm going to enjoy. It's by an author I love. It is The Man in the Iron Mask by Alexandre Dumas. I absolutely love this author, so I want to read this. It says it's a swashbuckling novel of political intrigue, and it's the concluding instalment of Alexandre Dumas' celebrated cycle of the Three Musketeers. Now, I struggled with the Three Musketeers. If you've watched my video on that, it wasn't one that I loved, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm hoping it doesn't matter that I haven't read the ones in between. I don't know how many there were in between. I've only read the first Three Musketeers, so hopefully this one will be better and that I will enjoy it. This month, out of the jar, came a pick from a subscriber, Vanessa K69, I think it is, and they recommended for me Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong as one that they had given 5 stars and one that they thought I would enjoy, and so I am going to pick this one up. It's quite nice compared to some of the others. It's a much shorter read, and I don't know much about it. I just trusting you all, and I picked it up. It says Ruth is 30, her life's falling apart. She and her fiance are moving house, but it appears he's moving out to live with the other woman he's been seeing. Her career is going nowhere, and then she learns that her father, a history professor beloved by his students, has Alzheimer's. At Christmas, her mother, grief-stricken and lucidly erratic, where her father is erratically lucid, begs her to stay home and help for a year. This sounds really good, so yeah, gonna give this one a go. If you remember, I talked about picking a selection of books off my book lust sort of list, so looking at the book lust books and coming up with a list of similar themed books to do a video on. Now, I didn't end up doing an individual video on last month because I only read 2 of the 5 books by Sarah's that I wanted to, so not really a win, but I read 2. This month I am very drawn to graphic novels, and so I've picked, there's quite a few actually, graphic novels off my shelf that I really want to get to. So I'm going to try and have a graphic novel running alongside my non-fiction for the book awards and my fiction book, and try and have 3 on the go together and read these graphic novels, and I will make a video talking about those and what I think of them. So that is what I'm doing for that list. It's going to be a graphic novel theme. For Romanceopoly, I rolled the dice and I landed on a male-male romance, and for that I picked one off my shelf, and I believe it's Captive Prince by C.S. Pacat. It's book 1 of the Captive Prince trilogy. I've heard from people that this is really good. I have this and maybe the second book. I believe it's a male-male romance. I think there are some problematic things in here that people talked about. I'm not sure if it's rape or consent, I don't know, but I will find out for myself and I will let you know. But this is the book I'm going to be reading for the one for male-male romance. I'm going to be reading a lot of non-fiction, but I'm not allowed to talk to you about it until the round has been judged and the next round books have been announced. There will be a video coming up of my non-fiction thoughts for the 6 books in my category for the Non-Fiction BookTube Award round 1. But I'm picking a separate non-fiction book for this month to go on my TBR, and for that I'm picking The Last Diet by Shahru Izadi. This was very kindly sent to me by the publishers, and I just think it sounds interesting. It's a book to show you how to sort of lose weight, but in sort of behavioural changes. So Shahru is a behavioural change specialist, so I think this is going to be good. I need to recalibrate my brain a little bit, I think, and how it thinks about food. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this, and I've heard great things. And then finally, I am also picking, from my PopSugar prompts this month, a book published in 2020. So I picked a book published this year for my peanut butter taco, but there is also one on the PopSugar for book published in 2020, which gives me the chance to pick a book that is coming out in March that I would like to read ahead of time, that I was very kindly sent the proof for. And that is The Animals of Lockwood Manor by Jane Healey. This proof copy is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can truly get the effect of all the gold on here. This just sounds different and interesting. It's set in 1939 August, and it's about the world going to war and Hetty Cartwright arriving at Lockwood Manor, tasked with the evacuation and safekeeping of the Natural History Museum's most treasured animal collection. And I think there's all sorts of other things going on. There's people that are sort of resentful, and animals start going missing, and rumours of ghosts and curses, and oh, it just sounds truly brilliant. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So that is my pick for the PopSugar Challenge book published in 2020. So a fair few books to be getting on with. Hopefully I'll be able to read them all this month. I'm enjoying what I'm reading, but there is still the elusive 5 stars. I've got 1 so far in January, which is better than none. But I would really like it if I was picking, you know, at least 2 or 3 5-star books a month. I'm obviously not great at picking for myself, and perhaps that is because I'm quite easily led and get excited about books quite quickly and sort of purchase them before I really take the time maybe to think about whether it is one that I just enjoyed because I enjoyed hearing someone talk about it so enthusiastically, rather than one that I would sit down and read for myself. We will have to see, but I will be coming back to you over the month with some recent reads and letting you know how I'm getting on, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Let me know what you're reading this month, and have you read any of these? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Bye for now, BookTube.